They did not announce themselves with banners or declarations of war. They arrived as dark silhouettes against the rising sun, their longships cutting through the water with unnerving silence, oars lifting and falling like the wings of some great sea beast. To those watching from the shore, there was no time to flee, no chance to bargain. The Vikings had come, and with them came fire, iron, and a terror so profound that monks would record it as a punishment set by God himself. This is the story of Viking raids, not as legend or exaggeration, but as a historically grounded, meticulously organized phenomenon that reshaped Europe between the late 8th and 11th centuries, collapsing old orders and forging new ones from blood, silver, and salt water. Before the Vikings, Western Europe lived under a fragile assumption. The sea was a boundary, not a highway. Kingdoms feared invasion by land, by Franks, Saxons, or rival lords, but coastlines were lightly defended, monasteries unfortified, rivers unguarded. This assumption proved fatal. Scandinavia in the late 8th century was undergoing profound change. Population pressure increased. Chieftains competed violently for land and followers. Wealth, especially silver, became a measure of power, prestige, and the ability to attract warriors. At the same time, improvements in shipbuilding, particularly the clinker-built longship made long-distance seaborne travel, not only possible, but reliable. The stage was set. The raid on Lindisfarne in 793 was not the first Viking attack. Earlier skirmishes had occurred in Dorset and Portland, but it was the one that shattered Europe's sense of security. Lindisfarne was sacred ground. Founded by Saint Aidan in 635, it housed priceless manuscripts, reliquaries, and treasures accumulated over generations. It was also defenseless. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle recorded the horror in stark terms. Fierce, foreboding omens came over the land, and the ravaging of heathen men miserably destroyed God's church at Lindisfarne. Monks were killed or enslaved. Relics were desecrated. Sacred gold was melted down into portable wealth. The shock was spiritual as much as political. If God allowed his holiest places to fall, what hope remained? The Vikings were not ignorant pagans striking blindly. They learned quickly and adapted faster. Monasteries were ideal targets because they were wealthy, holding gold, silver, and precious objects. They were undefended, often far from royal protection. They were symbolically powerful, making raids psychologically devastating. Over the next decades, monasteries across Britain, Ireland, and Francia were attacked. Iona 795, 802, 806, Jarrow, Wearmouth, Neuermartyr, and countless others. These raids were not random. They followed patterns of tide, season, and vulnerability. The Viking longship was the single most important tool of the raiding age. Built with overlapping planks, flexible hulls, and shallow drafts, these ships could cross the North Sea and Baltic, sail up rivers like the Thames, Seine, Loire, Rhine, and Elbe, be dragged over land between river systems. This allowed Vikings to strike deep inland, Paris, Hamburg, Cologne, places that believed themselves safe from seaborne attack. The longship turned geography into a weapon. Raiding was not chaos, it was an economy. Wealth flowed north in the form of silver, especially Frankish coins. Slaves taken from Ireland, England, and Slavic lands, weapons and luxury goods traded across vast networks. Archaeological finds in Scandinavia reveal Arabic dirhams from Baghdad, Byzantine silks, and Frankish swords, evidence that raids were linked to global trade routes. Raiding funded political power at home. A successful raider could become a chieftain. A successful chieftain could become a king. By the mid-9th century, Viking raids grew larger and more coordinated. The turning point came in 865, when the great heathen army landed in England. Led by figures such as Ivar the Boneless, Halfdan Ragnarsson, and Ubba, this was no raiding party, it was a conquering force. Northumbria fell. King Glai was killed. East Anglia collapsed after King Edmund was martyred. Mercia was overrun. Only Wessex, under Alfred the Great, survived after years of brutal war. The Vikings now built winter camps, fortified settlements, and ruled territory. The Danelaw, where Scandinavian law, language, and culture reshaped England forever. The Vikings struck with equal ferocity elsewhere. Francia Paris was besieged in 845 by Ragnar, possibly Ragnar Lothbrok, forcing Charles the Bold to pay a massive ransom. Repeated attacks led to the creation of Normandy. In 911, a Viking settlement under Rollo, Ireland Vikings founded long forts, ship fortresses that became cities. Dublin, Waterford, Limerick. These were not temporary camps, they were permanent power bases. The Mediterranean Vikings raided Spain, sacked Seville in 844, attacked Italy, and even reached North Africa. In one infamous episode, they captured Pisa and threatened Rome. Eastern Europe Swedish. Vikings known as Varangians raided and traded along the rivers of Russia, founding Kiev and Rus and serving as elite guards in Byzantium. The psychological impact of Viking raids cannot be overstated. Churches added prayers, a furor Normanorum libera nos Domini. From the fury of the Northmen, O Lord, deliver us. Coastal defenses were built. Kings centralized authority. Fortified towns emerged. The Vikings forced Europe to adapt or perish. By the 11th century, Viking society had transformed. They converted to Christianity. They ruled kingdoms, Denmark, Norway, England. The raiders became kings and administrators. The Norman conquest of 1066 was the final echo of the Viking Age, carried out by descendants of raiders who now spoke French and worshipped Christ. The Age of Raids ended not in defeat, but in assimilation and domination. Viking raids were not merely acts of destruction. They were engines of change. They connected distant worlds, reshaped political systems, and ended the illusion that the sea was a barrier. They left behind cities, languages, laws, and bloodlines that endure to this day. The longships are gone. The sails no longer darken the horizon. But the memory remains of a time when the sea itself became a weapon, and the world learned to fear the North.